When you are fighting corruption, we as citizens should see result. This result maybe come in reduction in poverty. I think number of infrastructures in place, improvement in the general standard of living. But when you see they are just fighting corruption on media.
For an administration whose major campaign promise was to fight corruption, Nigeria scored 24 out of 100 points, ranking 154 out of 180 countries in the 2021 Corruption Perception Index. In the 2020 index, Nigeria had scored 25 out of 100 points, ranking 149 out of the 180 countries surveyed. This latest ranking was released in the publication of the 2021 Corruption Perception Index, published by the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Transparency International's representative in Nigeria. This development means that Nigeria dropped to 154, which is 5 places down out of the 180 countries surveyed in comparison with the 2020 rating. This is the worst ranking the country has got under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. In 2015, Nigeria was ranked 136, 136 in 2016, 148 in 2017, 144 in 2018, 146 in 2019, and 149 in 2020. Awal Musa Rafsanjani, the executive director, CISLAC, explained that the index indicates the perception of corruption in Nigeria.
The Corruption Perception Index aggregates data from 8 different sources that provide perception by country experts and business people on the level of corruption in the public sector. While the index does not show specific instances of corruption in the country, it indicates the perception of corruption in Nigeria. The index is completely impartial, objective, and globally acknowledged as the most widely used cross-country parameter for measuring corruption.
Mr. Rafsanjani added that corruption in Nigeria has greatly contributed to the nation's underdevelopment.
Corruption in Nigeria has helped to underdeveloped Nigeria. It has also helped to expose Nigerians to a serious security risks and danger. It has also helped to make life miserable and totally unaffordable to ordinary Nigerians. It has also upturned our value system negatively. So corruption in all aspects, in all ramifications, is a major challenge to us. As a matter of fact, corruption has totally affected governance, good governance in this country. The Corruption Perception Index result comes at a point when Nigeria, as a country, is battling with rising nationwide insecurity, higher unemployment, and damning revelation around public finance management. It is because of corruption that the insecurity in this country has gone beyond control.
He goes on to say corruption prevails in every sector, whether government or private, despite the government's claims in fighting corruption.
As you all know today, for you to get admission into higher institutions, you have to pay bribe. For you to get even your exam or to even get your results, there's tendency that you are going to pay bribe. For you to get a job in Nigeria today, if you don't pay bribe, forget it. To get passport, international passport, if you don't pay bribe, forget it. To get driving license, if you don't pay bribe, forget it. Everything that has to do with public sector is embedded with the corruption.
The verdict here is that the administration has refused to look into the real politically exposed persons, rather. Instead, keeps chasing minor cases.
And sometimes, occasionally, arresting Yahoo and those minor, criminal, but failing to look at the real politically exposed corrupt persons whose corruption is destroying this country, whose corruption of one person will affect millions of Nigerians, they will look back, especially when they change to their party. You cannot say you are fighting corruption when political corruption is on the higher rate.
Sislak says all of this is down to 7 weaknesses which impede Nigeria's fight against corruption. The 7 listed weaknesses are damning audit reports, security sector corruption, failure to investigate high-profile corruption cases and prevent illicit financial flows, absence of asset recovery, protection of whistleblowers and other key anti-corruption legal frameworks, judicial challenges, corruption in the COVID-19 response, Twitter ban, shrinking of civic space and intimidation of human rights defenders. The Deputy Director of SERAP, Kolawale Oluwadare, speaking on one of the weaknesses, said,
Weakness 1, it speaks of the damning audit report and that the non-compliance and internal control weaknesses issues in the ministries, department and agencies MDA's report for 2019 published by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation in November 2021 has left Nigerians in awe. The level of financial recklessness and abuse of budgetary processes and failures of the various MDAs in following due process of appropriation is very disturbing, to say the least. For example, the Auditor General of the Federation revealed that in that report, I'm referring to the 2019 report, revealed that the sum of 49 billion naira was spent by 9 ministries, departments, and agencies without appropriation by the National Assembly. The report is a public document, by the way, and it can be accessed on the website of the Auditor General. Of course, this is a gross violation of Section 80, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
He added that the security sector corruption must be addressed.
As a matter of fact, the police was indicted by the Auditor General of the Federation's report, where the report stated, that's the report, 2019 report released in November 2021, and it stated that 178,459 arms and ammunition are missing from the armory of the Nigerian police force without trace. Of this figure, according to the report of the Auditor General, 88,078 are AK-47 assault rifles and 3,907 are assorted rifles and pistols. These may not necessarily be categorized as small and light arms. For context, these arms are enough to arm a force equivalent to about 25% of the current strength of the Nigerian police force, which stands at about 370,000. Of course, this explains perhaps the level of insecurity in the country.
The executive director of Sislak is urging the federal government to look into the corruption problems, adding that the fight against corruption must be holistic and collective. Following this report by Sislak, Roots TV team interviewed some Nigerians to get their reactions on the fight of corruption by this administration.
In my own opinion, there is no any improvement, considering the fact that when you are fighting corruption, we as citizens should see results. This result maybe come in reduction in poverty. I think number of infrastructures in place, improvement in the general standard of living. But when you see they are just fighting corruption on media, that is how I see it. Usually, how many people have this government was able to convict? I don't think the number is very significant. It's not at all significant. So, in my own opinion, there is no any improvement in terms of fighting corruption. This government has spent, I think, now about 7 years in government. Even in place, no any improvement economically and other factors. Even in the security sector, I think corruption is what made the fight to be very difficult. That's why the insecurity is usually aggravating. Because even the sector, there is high-level corruption. You will see lower cadre officers usually complaining that the money that was meant for fighting corruption is being hijacked by the senior cadre officers, and and nobody is being punished for that. So to me, I don't think there is any improvement.
The reason is that there is a bias in fighting the corruption. If somebody in other parties will not be fought, once you just decamp from another party to PDP and to APC, nobody will go after you again. So to me, the way I look at it, the government, the way it's fighting the corruption, is not a welcome development. The fight should be to everybody, not just to some other party members.
I think the administration has failed. One expected they would do well, but at the vigor the president was coming, everybody is disappointed. They are not doing exactly what they promised. There is no improvement at all. As far as I am concerned, there is no improvement at all. In fact, it is worsening.
I don't think they're doing enough, truth be told, because you can't be fighting corruption with corruption. It's as simple as that, because things are like downslopey, not making sense again, and yet you say you are fighting corruption. The question I have basically is, all the money that's been gotten for the past 8 years or 7 years from the so-called corrupt people, what has the money actually done? Why do we still keep borrowing? Why is it that things are still, Nigeria is still tribalistic, if it's not me and my people, it's not, going to be given to you. So for me, in conclusion and, in summary, is that the corruption thing is not working. So probably they should come back with a better agenda next year, and we actually hope that the better agenda will actually be better for us Nigerians. If not, this government, probably China should just come and buy Nigeria.
It is expected that the government will come out again to stoutly defend its anti-corruption credentials like it did last year. It claimed last year in reaction to the 2021 assessment that TI was unaware of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration's achievements in the battle against corruption. The Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has stated that the index does not reflect what he called the great strides by the country in its fight against corruption. The minister also questioned the source of data used for the TI ranking.